Cycle in the background. Um, yeah, it's just like whatever the thing is in my basement, like the heater or something. It like as you were talking, it turned on, and I was like, dang. Normally I would do interviews on Instagram Live, and then I told I told my professor once, and he got like, that's the one with like the stick up his ass. He got like, he didn't get so mad, but he was just like, why would you do that? Like, you need to do a phone call or whatever. But when I call people, they don't freaking answer. So it's like,
But they answer your Instagram live requests.
cause all right, it was a DJ and he's got a lot of followers. So if he goes with me, then it looks better. I don't know. But then
Okay.
all right. So the moral of the story was, or the point of the story was, he like his thing started glitching or whatever, and then I was like, okay, just log back on, and then he just stopped responding to me.
Oh wow.
And then so I ended up having to do like the same story over, basically,
Oh
that I
wow.
did like in the that I did. And then like I mean, I understand why he gets mad. He always gets mad at me when I don't get it, like for my senior project, and I'm just like, I have people that I have their number, and they just don't respond to me, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like stalk their house?
Right.
Like basically. It'll be like my actual football, like my coach from 10 years ago. I ran into him last year. I was like, hey, can I just scout your practices as if I'm a football scout? Can I like go over your see how it is, and then I'll write about it. And then I texted him, like I went to a practice. I was like, yeah, like if you have time to do like a sit down interview, I could just come through Hastings or whatever. Fun town, by the way. And then he just never responded to me. But like he knows me. Like
Right.
this is someone. It's not like someone I just ran into them and I don't know them. And then I had the same thing last Thursday. I called this guy from Iona. I coached his son like 3 years, 2016, so that's 3 years ago. And I was like, yeah, I'll call you between 1 and 2 on Thursday. Just didn't respond. And he gets mad at me. I'm like, what do you want me to do? They're in a it's in a freaking quarantine right now, and no one's responding. They have nothing for them to do. They're not doing work. But yeah, that's fun. All right, so what else did your research say besides that?
Dude, I could just send you this article.
No, it sounds
I mean, those are
also
like,
send me the article, but also it sounds better said out loud
um, let's
because I
see.
want to ask questions that kind of match what you're. Plus, I could always, as I'm like bumbling over every sentence, I could always edit out what I'm doing and then and then do a recording by myself and then ask the questions according to your answers.
That seems very inorganic. I don't know if that's how this is supposed to go.
You said inorganic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is true.
Um,
Because I remember we had the same thing with Catherine, and then Catherine didn't get to do any research.
uh, let's see.
I'm so glad this is not a TV interview. I'd be so fired. But keep going.
Uh, I'm trying to find other things that really stand out to me, but I feel like I already said the things that really stuck out.
Yeah, I think I've heard the 1968 thing. So they're saying if the minimum wage were what it was in 1960, 68, it would be like over $10 federally. I believe that's what they said. And if it matched production, it would be $20 an hour. That's what I heard. It's like these are rough estimates, but they're close.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point is just I think when we talk, you can't talk about an unadjusted, minimum wage unadjusted for inflation because you're then tricked into thinking, oh, minimum wage has consistently gone up, because it used to be whatever it was, $3, $4, $5, right, and it's now at $7.25. But you have to adjust it for inflation to see what it's actually worth. And so when you do that, yeah, 1968 is when it peaked. And since then, it's done a lot of like up and down, but it hasn't gone past that. So
Okay, so all right, this is actually wow. This is like, dang, this is not a fair. I don't say it's not a fair question, but this question is very opinionated. Okay, so what does that? Yeah, great journalism. What does that say about America that it peaked in 1968, and here we are, 50 years later, and wages have been stagnant since the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot to do with, I think, how much is this, you know, I don't want to say, no, let me rephrase that. Different administrations have a different view, right, of wages and of workers, and of economics and of what works and what doesn't. And I think this is ultimately a reflection of that. Definitely, right now we're talking about it federally, right? So on a federal level, that's it. On a federal level, the minimum wage is often more of a political issue than it is an economic one. You know what I mean? So it's very much about, oh, what this administration believes and what this president believes, etc. And so how much they prioritize that and how much they push that and how much they make it, their cause that they want to spearhead, that really varies from administration to administration. Um, and so, I think that's something that's a little concerning, I think, because it shows that this is not, the fact that we could almost call this a partisan issue is a little concerning because we're talking about people's livelihoods, But yeah, so I think it's, probably just a reflection of a whole lot of back and forth in Washington.
That's a good one. That's a good soundbite. I'm trying to. I didn't even think about it that way. I think, what? As I'm learning.
See, I think your question was trying to get me to say something super political, and I tried to be diplomatic about it.
Hey, everything is political. Everything is personal. That's my. Actually, that is not a good philosophy on how to live. Everything is political. Wow, the two P's. Everything's political.
Those
Everything's
aren't the
personal.
two P's. There are lots of other ones, but okay, sure.
I mean, all right, but you know what? Because that's fair. Because all right, in the course of this, I wanted to interview someone who owns a small business who's in favor of keeping it low, but
Oh, okay. That'd be
every
interesting.
yeah, so that means I wouldn't really. I would actually cater my questions to them because I wouldn't really challenge. I wouldn't really make it political. I would say, hey, like, why couldn't you afford it? But it wouldn't be leaning in how I phrased it. It would just be like, hey, what are the, you know,
Right.
what are the externalities preventing small businesses from raising it ideally? That
Okay. Can I be totally honest? I feel like you have a pretty clear objective that you want to make with all of this, and I feel like that's why you've mostly interviewed specific kinds of people. And so I think it would be really cool to interview someone with a small business and someone who doesn't, favor an increase in wages. But you don't, I don't know, from a journalistic perspective, you want to ask them fair and equal questions and let them, air and express their thing. So, you shouldn't set them up in a trap to be like,
no,
aha.
no, no, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't make for me. I wouldn't make them. I would actually ask them. I would say I would basically say, hey, like, what are like what actually no I would say it like what actually prevents you from doing it, but I wouldn't challenge it. I would just say like I would just be like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because I
Right.
believe a good question, I believe a good answer or soundbite or whatever you want to call it, actually, like, when I respond, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way, like,
Yeah.
then that's like a good, that's
Yeah.
when it's like, all right, that's solid,
Yeah.
because like before well, I don't really know people who own small businesses, but like before the world was on fire, I in my mind I was gonna like interview. Well, Cody doesn't count because he's a manager. But I would
And
interview someone who would.
we're not a small business, and he doesn't own the theater.
Yeah. That's what. But I'm saying like someone that was like if it was a deli or something, and then they had like 5 teenagers employed or something, you know.
You should have gone to Busker Do. That would have been the best place. They have like one employee.
Oh, they should be paying that person like $30 a second then.
But they only have like 5 customers a day, so you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, see, but there it is. I hadn't thought of it that way.
But you should have interviewed them. They would have been a good place to interview, I think.
Oh my God, you think they're going out of business?
But the guy is too scary, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's always like, "Where's Chris?" It's a weird setup when all these people will come in, all these not strangers. A lot of customers come in and ask for Chris, and I'm like, this has got to stop.
Really?
This has got to stop. Like this is a little insane. I used to get mad at it, now I don't care anymore. But I'm like, this is good. Like, let's relax here. Let's calm it down. All right, yeah, but like, so I know with this, I could see how like my things getting in the way, but like, yeah, I wouldn't really. Actually, you know what's funny? I actually wouldn't do like, unless I really hated their like, I'd have to hate their perspective. I wouldn't really do follow up questions, like even if what they were saying was wrong.
I mean, no, you should always do follow-up questions. What do you mean? It's not about right or wrong or their opinions. A follow-up just means you want them to clarify or you want to add more on the point that they made. So whether you agree with it or not, in order to have a fleshed out and thorough conversation, you need follow-ups. Otherwise, you're just grazing the surface of things, and that's not great.
Yes, but this is what. All right, see, that's a bigger thing, which is a 90-minute discussion. That's what I accuse. That's what I accuse CNN of doing, but that's a separate thing. But yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait till like someone catches me on recording and then like accuses me of being Trump for crapping on the media. Yeah, it's fun to crap on the media. I'm gonna have a podcast about that, crapping on the media
Oh my gosh.
with Daryl.
With Daryl.
But I feel like as soon as I do that, they're not gonna like hire me.
Yeah, I would say that would make it hard to get a job in media, I would think.
Yeah, I bang with print outlets though. Cable media, print outlets, trash.
Yeah, yeah. And there's some truth to that, I would say. Some
Right.
truth.
Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, the podcast is gonna be called Bring Back Cronkite. Wait, how do you say his name? Cronkite. Bring back Cronkite. How do you say his name?
I don't really know. I'm
Walter
sorry.
Cronkite. Wow, I'm trying. Wait, try to say that 5 times fast, real quick. Bring back
I-
Cronkite.
I don't even know if I can say it once. Bring back concrete.
Oh my God, I can't speak. Yeah, no, but no, these are good. These are good answers though. Even though you try to keep it diplomatic, that might actually show in my That might actually show in this. I'm gonna upload this to SoundCloud. You have SoundCloud, right?
No, I do not. I've literally never used SoundCloud.
Dang.
But I don't, need an account. You just send me a link or whatever, right?
Yeah, but it's more fun if you have an account. That makes sense.
I'll figure it out. I can set one up or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I think I've already asked you about. Purchasing power, right? Purchasing power. That's where I That's where I make my main thing because I want people. Because I want people to live comfortably.
Mhm.
And it seems like no one can do that. Not no one. But it seems like that's not a good like standard of living. Like one of my questions was gonna be, but I think I kind of asked that, like what would be your ideal wage? But then you said, hey, like it's based on like regional stuff
Mhm.
and such.
And I think also another thing is just lifestyle, because I think what we in the U.S. think is enough to survive is not what people in Spain think is enough to survive. In the U.S. we're like a highly consumerist society, and so we want a lot of things, and we think that we need a lot of things, but we don't. And so I think our lifestyle in the U.S. also changes how we view our needs, and just because, and I think that also informs a lot of how Americans think about what their government should or should not provide for them. That's a very U.S. sort of cultural thing, but also just our lifestyle. And so to ask somebody, what do you think is, a fair wage for you, that raises up a lot of questions of, oh, but what makes it fair? Like, what things do you need covered? Do you need more than, shelter, basic clothes, and food, or whatever it is? Because Americans will probably say that there's a lot more that they need than that, which is fair. But, so I don't know how I would answer a question like that.
All right.
you
So all
know?
right. So I have to make that I'll make it the last question. All right. So actually, I think it's kind of like I feel like the questions are getting repetitive, but I'll ask it in this sense. What is All right, so what is the impact of just all right, what's the impact of people's ability to just live comfortable, I guess like stress wise, where they're not worrying as much about bills? It's like a general question, I mean, like they are what's the impact of people actually having purchasing power? Forget the minimum wage for a second, and them being able to live comfortably.
Right. So again, I think with living comfortably, I
Comfortably meaning where everything's not paycheck to paycheck, and a
right
$400
without
emergency doesn't like kill them, like their car breaks down and they're not you know gonna miss a bill.
right exactly. Like if you have a medical bill, you don't go bankrupt. Kind of comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's incredibly important, and I think it does have huge impact on, things like stress, definitely, which, then too much stress affects your health, and then, it's a whole cycle. And it's definitely important, and I think the sort of, um, this reckoning, really, that America has is that we are a capitalist country. And so the nature of capitalism is more, more, more. And the nature of capitalism is push and push and push. It's not to live comfortably. And so how do we live comfortably and also uphold this sort of, neo-capitalist ideology that the country has? And how do we still, you know, boost our economy and do all these things and live comfortably? What's that middle ground? I don't know exactly. But it has a huge impact on people and how they're able to live their lives and the quality of life that they're able to have. When they're able to live comfortably and with, significantly less stress. And I think for Americans to be able to live that kind of life should be the priority of any politician, administration, whatever. Because it's all about people's lives at the end of the day. So I don't know where that perfect intersection is of managing to do those two things, but it should definitely be more of a priority. And I think also when we talk a lot about minimum wage and these kinds of things, we talk about people, surviving and making ends meet, which is important, and that's step one. But I think the further step is that people should able to live and just sort of, sigh a little breath of relief and, be comfortable. I don't quite know how we get there yet, but